This is RT International bringing you your global news update with me, Jacqueline Vuga, taking over for my colleague Rory Suchet. Welcome to the program. Both Presidents Putin and Trump have arrived in the Finnish capital of Helsinki and are now at the summit venue, with the meeting minutes away from now. Although the summit with Putin has yet to begin, some sectors of the media are already in panic mode, just as they were when Trump and Putin first met last year.
It's unlikely that the president will confront Putin.
He's going to convey to Putin that he's weak.
From what is now our American perspective, how has he earned a face-to-face, full-scale, bilateral meeting with the U.S. president?
The president's trip abroad will also include a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Important for the leaders of these two countries to meet. I'd like to hear someone say that's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
When he goes to this NATO conference, who will he represent? Will he represent the United States, or will he represent Moscow?
The former KGB colonel in the Kremlin could be doing some important intelligence gathering on his American counterpart.
People are terrified. The best case scenario is a scenario where basically nothing terrible happens.
Hillary Clinton recently tweeted insinuating that President Trump is in cahoots with the Russians. It seems no matter what happens in Helsinki or how hard Trump and Putin try to improve diplomatic relations, some will never be satisfied, as Murat Gaziev explains.
2 years they've obsessed over it, wondered and worried about this meeting, joked about their relationship.
Donald, I want to state officially that we in Russia are so happy that you are U.S. president.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, one-on-one. I'm thinking you, me, joint statement saying we're best friends, blah, blah, blah.
And here we are. They finally meet in a pundit cacophony, roaring up into a crescendo. A tense moment, but Trump thinks it's no biggie.
I have NATO. I have the UK, which is in somewhat turmoil.
Putin may be the easiest of them all.
Who would think? Who would think?
I hope we get along well. I think we get along well. Hopefully someday maybe he'll be a friend. It could happen, but I just don't know him very well. In a sense, we're competitors. Not a question of friend or enemy. He's not my enemy.
So what's on the menu? Well, for starters, no one really knows yet. Oh, we've had hints. Syria, Ukraine, meddling, but nothing concrete, which is no surprise. Anything these two say, especially about each other, invariably gets strung out and turned upside down and inside out.
He is a very bright person, talented without any doubt.
Putin reaffirming their bromance.
Mutual Admiration Society.
He is really very much of a leader. He's been a leader far more than our president has been a leader.
Two mentally unstable, aggressive men with nuclear buttons.
It's a disgrace.
It's gotten so bad that even common courtesy is frowned upon or reviled. At this point, if Putin sneezed, Trump would be crucified for merely saying, "Bless you." Thing is, Trump's Trump. He's easy with words.
Russia is not strong economically, and we could do a lot of different things to really do numbers on them if we wanted to.
You know what? Putin's fine. He's fine.
Trump's Trump. Words for him are more sound than meaning. Putin, though, much more careful, a politician.
Trump was able to succeed in business, and that means he is a clever man. Trump's team was more effective during the election campaign. Sometimes I thought he was exaggerating, it's true, but it turned out that he was right.
Although Putin did once side with Trump, remember the rumors spread about Trump, the one about prostitutes and a certain hotel room in Moscow?
Trump is a man who for many years has organized beauty pageants. He socialized with the most beautiful women in the world. I can hardly imagine he rushed to the hotel to meet some young Russian women of low social responsibility.
Sweet talk aside, Russia and the US in Syria have almost come to open war. Relations are dismal, getting worse, but not all is lost. Crimea is back in the headlines. Trump has called for Russia to come back to the G7. Regardless, Trump's a businessman. He likes to deal. He likes to trade.
I could say, would you do me a favor? Would you get out of Syria? I think I'd probably have a good relationship with him.
Yeah, it isn't going to be easy, but at least they're talking, eh? Two nuclear superpowers which could destroy the world thrice over, not behaving like children. Everyone's better off when they talk, unless you're a pundit or a hater. They're in meltdown mode, calling this a loss for the US, calling Trump a Russian agent. But hey, they've been at it for years. All that's left, really, is to wait and see.
We'll see what happens. Only time will tell.
Political commentator John Bosnich thinks Trump's got a point when he says he's being criticized by the media no matter what.
This is a meeting that has been long anticipated. This has followed a buildup of demonization of both Putin and Trump, especially in what Trump calls the lying mainstream media in the West. So that trepidation and fear that you're hearing from the United States is not necessarily not coming from the people of the United States, but from the media of the United States. And as we know, unfortunately, the mainstream media is a heavy point of investment of the military-industrial complex. If there is no war, the military-industrial complex goes bankrupt. And so that's the real fear and nervousness about this meeting. Every normal person who loves peace is in favor of this meeting.
Ahead of the summit, Donald Trump tweeted that relations between Russia and the U.S. were at rock bottom, blaming his predecessors for that. He also said that the media would crucify him at home, no matter what the outcome.
Unfortunately, no matter how well I do at the summit, if I was given the great city of Moscow as a retribution for all of the sins and evils committed by Russia.
We can now show you some live pictures as Trump and Putin are now together. They have both arrived at the presidential palace in Helsinki, the capital of Finland. Now, Putin arrived just a few minutes before Donald Trump, and now they will have a short photo op before the press, before the two meet one-on-one. The two are scheduled to talk for about an hour and a half, completely alone, with the exception of only their translators. And then they will move on to later in the day having a larger working lunch, and will conclude with a joint news conference. Now, Donald Trump has already met. I believe now we can get a translation of what's being said.
Ну, конечно, настало время поговорить обстоятельно о наших двусторонних отношениях и по различным болевым точкам в мире, и достаточно много для того, чтобы мы обратили на это внимание.
And now it's time to talk in detail about our bilaterals, as well as some of the hot points worldwide. There's one number of these for us to make note of and discuss them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, Mr. President, I'd like to congratulate you on a really great World Cup, one of the best ever, from what everybody tells me, one of the best ever, and also for your team itself doing so well.
всем известно, это было наиболее лучшее себя американских футбола. И хочу также поздравить и героев Африки.
I watched quite a bit in the United States. We call it soccer, and I watched quite a bit of it, and I watched the entire final and the semifinals, and they were really spectacular games, but it was beautifully done. So congratulations on that.
Я смотрел за играми, у нас в Соединенных Штатах эта игра называется футбол, сокер. Смотрел как финальную игру, так и полуфинальную игру. Обе были очень интересны.
Most importantly, we have a lot of good things to talk about and things to talk about. We have discussions on everything from trade to military to missiles to nuclear to China. We'll be talking a little bit about China. Our mutual friend, President Xi.
У нас есть огромное количество тем, которые нам надо будет обсудить, очень интересные темы, начиная с таких вопросов, как торговля, коммерция, военные вопросы, также вопросы, связанные с Китаем, с ядерной политикой, поговорим также о нашем друге Xi.
I think we have great opportunities together as two countries that, frankly, we have not been getting along very well for the last number of years. I've been here not too long, but it's getting close to 2 years. But I think we will end up having an extraordinary relationship. I hope so. I've been saying, and I'm sure you've heard over the years, and as I campaigned, that getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing.
У наших двух стран есть огромная возможность для того, чтобы наладить наши взаимоотношения. На протяжении нескольких лет эти отношения не были плохие, где-то около 2 лет. Но я думаю, что есть возможность, чтобы эти отношения между нашими странами стали чрезвычайно нехорошими. Я во время своей предвыборной кампании говорила о том, что ладить с Россией сделать непросто.
And I really think the world wants to see us get along. We are the two great nuclear powers. We have 90% of the nuclear, and that's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. And I think we hopefully can do something about that, because it's not a positive force, it's a negative force. So we'll be talking about that among other things.
Мы будем говорить о наших ядерных потенциалах. Две страны, которые содержат более 90% всех ядерных арсеналов, и это не является чем-то хорошим. Это не очень хорошая вещь, поэтому нам надо делать все для того, чтобы улучшить наше положение по этому вопросу. Я думаю, мы будем говорить непосредственно о вопросах, связанных с ядерной политикой.
And with that, the world awaits, and I look forward to our personal discussion, which I think begins now, and then we're going to meet our whole team. You have quite a few representatives on I do, and we all have a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll come up with answers, most importantly. It's great to be with you.
Свою команду, большое количество людей, и я думаю, что мы сможем обсудить большое количество очень важных для нас вопросов.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
As Presidents Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump at the presidential palace in Helsinki, both before their meeting, giving a few words to the press. Their meeting that they'll be having alone with just their translators for about an hour and a half. That's what their meeting is estimated to be for. Donald Trump was speaking about what they will be discussing, including China, trade. He also touched on nuclear power, which he called a negative force, and said that the two would be talking about that. He also lamented the state of relations between the two countries, saying that he hopes for an extraordinary relationship between the two of them, and again repeated his mantra of saying that getting along with Russia would be a good thing.